Mailbag time here on Seahawks Today. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Coming up on today's show, we will answer your questions that you guys sent us from our live shows that we do on Wednesdays each week. And these questions we answer in real time. People send us super chats or they use hashtag Seahawks, and we react to their questions. And it's a pretty awesome deal. So I encourage you, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and be a part of our mailbag segments. So when you subscribe, turn on those notifications, and you'll be alerted when we go live to be a part of these mailbag segments. Best part about it, doesn't cost you a thing. Absolutely 100% free, guaranteed to subscribe and be a part of our mailbag segments here on the channel. Let's start with a $5 super chat from Alex. Thank you, Alex, for that. What's the possibility of Seattle going 12-5, and are they Super Bowl contenders? So let me put it this way to you, Alex. As far as it goes of the possibility of Seattle going 12-5. In my record prediction video that we brought to you about a week or two ago, I said Seattle would go 11-6. That was my official prediction for the Seahawks. 12-5 is possible, but you have to have a couple things go your way when it comes to injuries and then also out of respect for your opponent. And the Seahawks do not have an easy schedule by any means. So is 12-5 possible? It is. But it's not what I'm picking out of respect to the teams that they play as far as that goes. You're going to take some, and you're going to lose some that you don't expect to lose to as well, just the way cookie crumbles sometimes in the National Football League. I mean, who would have thought last year the Chiefs would have lost to the Colts? But that happened. Are the Seahawks Super Bowl contenders? Well, think about this. I think the NFC, it starts with the Eagles and the Niners. Those are your two top teams. And then the next tier is teams like Seattle, Dallas, the Giants, and others. We've heard from Pete Carroll say they're not done. They have still more moves to be made. If they make the right moves going forward, they could potentially join that upper tier, and yeah, they would be Super Bowl contenders if they do so. Thanks, Alex. $10 super chat from the man himself. Thank you, the man himself. I think we can utilize the Eskridge strictly at kick and punt return and give Tyler Lockett a break from special teams, considering his age, and it gives D. Eskridge a chance to shine somewhere. Yeah, I would like to see D. Eskridge find a role in some way, shape, or form. We know he's a talented football player. Obviously, he's already been passed over for the third wide receiver position. So where does he ultimately end up? That's a great question. But if they could find him in special teams, then that'd be awesome to see. Then it might be worth keeping him around. Remember, he might get cut not because they need the money. He doesn't cost that much, but they might need the roster spot if he doesn't step it up. So yeah, let's see him get a shot. Just get on the field and be effective in some way, shape, or form. Seahawks fan 123 with a $20 super chat. Bang! Thank you for that. Seahawks fan 123. Do you think Myles Adams will be as good as a starting nose tackle? And should we re-sign Jordyn Brooks at the end of this season? Seahawks fan 123, if you're watching on our live stream, we will pay off your super chat coming up in a few moments. But as far as the rest of you that are watching on our taped version here, let me say this. Myles Adams, I think that he's fine, but I think Seattle could do better. I think they could be looking to I think they're looking to upgrade that position as far as that goes. No knock on Myles Adams, but they can do better than Myles Adams. As far as re-signing Jordyn Brooks, all depends on how he comes back from this ACL injury. If he looks good, if he looks healthy, then he'll be back. But if he doesn't play that great, if he doesn't recover right from this injury, then yeah, you could move on from him and call it quits there. We'll see how he looks from the injury, but I would guess that more than likely he's going to be back in Seattle in 2024. Seahawks Fanatic writes, hashtag Seahawks, here is my new name. How about that? How about signing Matt Ioannidis to play in the interior of the D-line? Matt Ioannidis, I can't believe he's still sitting out in free agency as far as I'm concerned. Started his career with the Washington Commanders, went on to the Carolina Panthers, and I was reading about Matt Ioannidis this past week. And the folks at Walter Football, which is like an old school OG football scouting report site, if you know, you know, folks. They describe Matt Ioannidis this way. Matt Ioannidis is a solid, well-rounded defensive tackle with no weaknesses. Sold. You got me right there. I mean, you look at what Seattle's looking for. They don't have a whole lot of money to spend. You're trying to just get a little bit better, right? Just try to find those little gaps. Matt Ioannidis, I think, could go a long way and be a nice improvement for this team on the defensive line. I would be all in favor of signing Matt Ioannidis, and I think at this juncture he's probably not going to cost you a ton either. Should the Seahawks sign Matt Ioannidis? What do you think? Y for yes, in for no. Should the Seahawks do this move or not? Tell me what you think in the comments section if you like the idea or not. Y for yes, in for no. Feel free to elaborate further what you think of this possibility. Caleb writes, how do you think our defense will rank after the draft and free agency? So last year, the Seahawks had one of the worst defenses in the NFL. Let's be real with y'all, because we keep it 100 here on Seahawks today. The defense was not good. In particular, the run defense specifically struggled mightily, and they got ran over. Now, the Seahawks defense is much improved this year, but there is still work to be done to improve this group, and that's why you're hearing Pete Carroll and others say that they are still shopping around of some sorts. I think that this defense can be a top 15 defense. I think that's a fair assessment that they can be in that group, but run defense is still an issue. That still needs to be worked on, and that's still a weakness for this team. So while their total defense might be in the top 15, run defense-wise, they're going to be in the bottom half of the league, based on where this roster stands right now. So that's what I'm looking at, Caleb. Stoner Television writes in, if Jamaal Adams has a good season, should we sign C.J. Gardner? I think he's talking about C.J. Gardner-Johnson there. Cut Diggs or cut both if Adams gets hurt, sign C.J. Gardner next season, Julian Love and C.J. Gardner. Okay, so a lot of mentions about C.J. Gardner there as far as that goes. I wonder about that. I'll say this much. Jamaal Adams, I know this might frustrate some Seahawks fans out there, but hear me out on this. If he stays healthy and has a good season, he might still be one of the best values out there because nobody, Seahawks included, is going to want to pay him a lot of money. If he's sitting out there and is not demanding a whole lot, it actually might be worth bringing Jamaal Adams back and getting him a new deal of some sorts there. C.J. Gardner, we'll see. Julian Love, I love, no pun intended, Julian Love. I think that he's going to be a great addition for the Seahawks for a long time. We'll see, but still some work to be done there. Thank you, Stoner Television, for that. Billy writes in, should the Seahawks consider signing Cameron Brate? Would he be an upgrade from what they already have at the tight end position? Well, you look at where the Seahawks are at right now at the tight end spot. You have, of course, Will Dissly, Noah Fant, and Colby Parkinson. And I think Cameron Brate is along the same lines of talent, maybe actually even less than those guys. I don't think you're improving much if you bring in Cameron Brate and then paying him and moving a roster spot and all that. I don't think that makes a ton of sense. Cameron Brate played alongside Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and had Tom Brady throwing him the football, and he just looked okay. You know, he didn't play to his full potential of what most people thought he was capable of. So Cameron Brate, no, I'm out on the idea of Cameron Brate, personally. I know that Seattle wants to upgrade that tight end position at some point, that you have good tight ends, but you want to have great tight ends. Cameron Brate's not a great tight end. No thanks. I don't think Cameron Brate's that guy. Should the Seahawks sign Cameron Brate? What do you think about that possibility? S for sign, P for pass. Tell me what you think in the comments section if Seattle should make a move for Cameron Brate or not. S for sign, P for pass. Cam writes in, thoughts on the new NFL fair catch rules on kickoffs. What's next? We start playing special teams plays out of Madden. Cam, I hate it. I think it sucks. I thought it was a bad decision. The coaches and the special teams coaches and the players hated it, but the owners wanted to do their own thing in the name of player safety. We already see this rule in college of fair catching between the end zone and the 25-yard line. I think it's ridiculous. I think you take a whole element out of the game that's very important in the return game. Devin Hester would not be the player that he is in today's NFL with all these terrible rules that we've created on special teams. I mean, I hate it that you can't even jump over a guy when you're going to block a kick, that you just have to stand there I mean, to me, that's ridiculous. If you can jump the pile, do all that. I mean, you're taking a whole other element in what's supposed to be 1/3 of the game in special teams. To me, it's ridiculous. What I think the NFL should do, and I've heard a lot of people suggest this, and I like this idea of the XFL-style kickoff. Fun fact, back in 2020, I was at the St. Louis Battlehawks and the New York Guardians game, the first ever XFL game in St. Louis. And I witnessed the first ever XFL kickoff return for touchdown in this style format of these players just 5 yards apart from each other. You don't get the running start. It's safe, and it's still exciting, allows the kickoff return. I think that you could have the best of both worlds if you go with that type of kickoff return where player safety but also excitement come together. That's what the NFL should be looking to do, Cam. Matthew with the final question in our mailbag. Need a designated punt and kick returner. Who would be the 4th-string wide receiver? Maybe that's the Eskridge. Maybe that is potentially. But, Matthew, I agree. You need a guy that's like in baseball terms, like a utility player, right? I agree. You need something like that to that effect and to relieve guys like Tyler Lockett and others from having to do kick and punt returns. Not a bad idea, Matthew, the sexy with a bit of gangster swag that you got going on there. Thank you, Matthew. Name a player the Seahawks should sign. Who somebody comes to mind that you'd like to see this team add in free agency? Give me one name, whether it's somebody we've talked about today or somebody we haven't talked about. Let me know in the comments section below, and we'll see you next time here on Seahawks Today.